Hello, it's Linda here from Papercraft with Crafty, and today I've got a tutorial for you on how to put together one of these gorgeous little pillow box gift boxes. I've made this one using a new product which has just come out by Stampin' Up, and that is now featuring in the new autumn winter catalogue, Handmade for the Season, from Stampin' Up. The die that I'm going to be using is this one. I'll just show you, pop that in there. This is the square pillow box thinlet dies. Okay, so this comes packaged like this, one of these nice handy little plastic storage cases that you can stash away quite nicely, keeping everything together. These are the dies. This is the complete package. So this is the die that I'm using today to make the box, and it also comes with these additional little dies here. Okay, so aimed at the Christmas season, we've got a snowflake here, we've got some tiny little Christmas trees, got some, what are they? I suppose they could be balloons, so you could use those for other things. Got some pretty little leaves here, holly leaves I would imagine, and then we've got one of these candy canes. So you've got quite a lot of little bits and pieces along with the actual die itself for the pillow box. So as I said, this is the little box we're going to be making. I made this one up on white cardstock, but today I'm going to be making one up on something which I've newly discovered and which I really love, and this is Tempting Turquoise cardstock by Stampin' Up. I've not really paid much attention to it before, but I ordered some in and it came in this week, and I absolutely love it, and I think it's going to look beautiful with silver embossing. So I'm going to demonstrate my little box using turquoise and silver, and I do hope that you enjoy this tutorial. Okay, so you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock for this particular little box. Now I'm using one piece here, measures 5 by 8 1/4 inches, and then you're going to need another piece for the back of the box, and this measures 5 by 5 7/8 of an inch. Okay, so I'm going to start off by stamping and embossing the larger piece of cardstock. So what you're going to need for that is an embossing buddy. You're going to need some Versamark stamp pad, and then you're going to need a really nice background stamp. And for my project, I'm using my current favourite. It comes from this set which is called Awesomely Artistic, and I'm using this stamp here which creates beautiful backgrounds. Okay, so I'm going to be using that. You can use whatever you've got really, just anything that creates a pretty background. So put that to one side. I've already got my stamp here on an acrylic block, so I'm going to now load up my stamp, and before I stamp I'm just going to go over the whole of the cardstock, sweeping across with my embossing buddy just to remove any greasy marks which may be on the cardstock from my fingers, and that ensures that the embossing powder that I'm going to be using is going to stick to the stamped pattern and hopefully not to any finger marks. Okay, so like I said, load up your stamp, and then I'm just randomly going to stamp my image across this piece of cardstock. Okay, I'll pop that to one side now, and I have got somewhere some silver embossing powder. So I'm going to take my embossing powder now, and I'm just going to sprinkle it over my stamped images. Okay, and you can see I've got just a little bit there, which I'm just going to flick away. Normally I would have a little fine tipped paintbrush handy with a fine nib, and I find if I get any bits left on there which I'm not happy with, what I tend to do is just sweep them off with a little fine nibbed paintbrush. So that's just a little tip for you. So any bits that you don't want to see on there, you can just finely sort of sweep them away. So I'm just going to get my embossing powder back in its little tub, and then I'm going to set about heat embossing this with my heat gun. Okay, so you have to use a heat gun for these. You can't use a hairdryer, so you do need to invest in a proper embossing tool or heat tool. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on now. I'm going to let it run just for a little while it sort of heats up, and then I'm just going to sweep it over the stamped images. Okay. And you'll see now they slowly turn lovely shiny silver. Quite magical, isn't it? How the image suddenly just comes to life on the card. I love embossing, or heat embossing. Nearly there. Okay, so there we go. I think that looks really, really, really pretty. So now I've done that, I'm ready to take my die and run this through the Big Shot. So I'm just going to go away and set up for that, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I have here now my Big Shot, and I'm going to be using it with my magnetic platform. And what you need to do is make a little sandwich. So there's my little base plate, and here's the die and the cardstock. So you want to place your die up here, up to the edge of your cardstock like that. Lay it nice and flat on that platform. I'm just going to turn it around actually, because I put it on the wrong way, which is very, very silly. Right, so I'm going to pop the other plate on top like that, and then I'm just going to feed this through my Big Shot. So just going to run it through like that. Okay, so that cuts out one template for you, and then just going to bring back in the other piece of cardstock which measured 5 by 5 7/8. Going to place that down. I'm going to put my die on there like this, and I'm going to run it back this way. Okay, so that's the back. So dispense with that now, and I'm going to bring back in my cut templates. Okay, now before we go get on with sticking these together, I'm going to introduce another new product which comes in the autumn winter catalogue, which I've found is really handy now for making these boxes. Okay, and that is this triple punch here, which is a new one. And it's brilliant. It cuts little slots like this, which hopefully you can see here on this particular little gift box. And I just think these are handy because sometimes, depending on how much you put in these pillow boxes, the sides can pop out. And I just think that having these little slots here and perhaps feeding some ribbon through just helps to keep the box really nicely together. So I'm using it on this particular one. Like I said, it's a triple punch really, so let me just demonstrate to you. I need this little piece of card, so I'm just going to go and grab a piece, so it won't be a second. Okay, so I've got this piece of card here, so I'm just going to demonstrate to you exactly what this punch is capable of. So to get the little slots like I've used on the little box that I just demonstrated there to you, you just pop it in and punch, and you'll get one of these. If you want a pretty scalloped corner to your card projects, put the card in like this, it kind of goes in on like a diagonal. Just lay it down and punch. And then you've got this beautiful little scalloped corner, and then there's another corner, decorative corner as well, and that's this one. So you've got like a double little curve. So that really is a very handy little punch. So it's called the Curvy Corner Trio Punch. It's in the new Autumn Winter catalogue and it's on page 18 and it's £18, but I think that's real value for money. It's just a really handy punch to have in your kit. So move those out of the way. I'm going to punch one of those little slots now on each side of my pillow box die, and I'm going to be doing it on the decorated side because that's the side that's going to form the main closure. It's the bit that you see really. Let me show you there. Okay, so that's the bit you're going to see, so that's the bit that I'm going to be punching. So all you need to do is take your project, whoops, got bits stuck everywhere here, find the punch that you want. So I'm after this one here, so I'm going to put it in like that. So there's my little half circle, so find that, you can view it, there you go, you might just be able to see it going through there. So that's in there like that. I'm just going to flip this over now and punch, so that's that, and then want to do one on the other side. So again, oh, what am I doing? Feed it through the right one, woman. Right, there's my circle, my half circle. You have to take a little time just to make sure you've got it right. I'm just going to flip it round like that and punch. Okay, so we've got two little slots each side now to work with. So pop that to one side. Before I put my box together, I go around and I actually like to just gently curve these edges on my cardstock. Okay, so these are the bits that fold in, so you just need to apply some gentle pressure along there and you'll feel the cardstock beginning to give. Okay, and then I didn't have my bone folder to hand, and I've already gone ahead and done this one, but you'll need a bone folder just to, because you've got these pre-scored lines, so if you just fold them in on themselves like that, pretending I've got a bone folder, you just need to rub down those sides. Okay, and those are the sides on which you're going to be putting some double-sided tape. So taking the double-sided tape, just run it up along each of the edges. So I'm going to snip that there and snip off this little bit here which we don't need, and then just apply it to the other side, or the other piece I should say, not the other side. What am I like? Just cutting off those bits now, and so you're ready to actually put the box together. And then the fun bit comes when you can start start decorating it. So just going to sit that along, try and get it nicely lined up along the edge. Take a little bit of time. Okay, so that's that side done. And then just going to remove the backing strip here and bring this side over like that. And you can see I've just gone over, there's a smidgen of double-sided tape there, which I don't want. So get rid of that. And that's the box formed. Okay, so that's the box done. But like I said, now it's like just decorating it, but I'll just show you now. So there it is. Okay, and like I said, the fun bit starts for me now, because I just love decorating these and blinging them up. So what I've done is I'm using this little punch here, which I use loads of times, from the Itty Bitty Punch Pack, and I'm also using my lovely pansy punch as well. I have here, where is it? A vintage faceted button, so I'm going to be using that. And this is lovely. This again is new in our autumn winter catalogue, and this is silver cording trim. So you will find that on page 24 of the new catalogue, and you can get it in gold and it comes in silver, and it's £4.50 for 22.9 metres. Okay, so I'm going to be using some of that, and I'm going to bring back in what was left of the cardstock that we ran through for this piece earlier. And the reason I stamped all the way across was because I'm going to be using these now just to finish off the box and decorate it. So all I'm going to do, take my pansy punch, punch out that flower. I'm going to take my little itty bitty flower punch here and punch out 3 flowers. And those are going to go on my box. And I'm just going to bling those up with some rhinestones. So pop one on there, and pop one on here, and one on here. And Lenny, really, did you have to interrupt? You cheeky monkey. I'm just going to have to let my dog out. Okay, so I've let my dog out. In fact, I'll let them both out. They'll be asking to come back in again in a minute. So, like I said, I've gone ahead, done those, added some pretty rhinestones, and then with this flower here, I decided it would be rather nice to use one of these vintage faceted buttons just to add a little bit of texture and interest. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my 16th of an inch handheld punch here, and I'm just going to punch 2 little holes round about in the centre, fairly close together, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take my cording trim, and I'm going to feed some through the back here. Let me just cut some off now. You don't need very much to do this little tiny piece. I'm going to feed another piece through here, like that. And then I'm going to take my button I'm going to try and get it through this hole. That's one. I'm doing this without my glasses, so I'm kind of at a bit of a disadvantage at the moment, but I'm just about there with that, yeah. So I'm just pulling that through, and I just think it adds a nice little decorative piece of interest to my box. Makes it look just a little bit extra special. So I'm literally just going to tie a little knot in the middle of that. And then just snip it with my snips. Okay, pop those to one side. And then using my cording trim again, I'm just going to go through the little slot that I punched out, through the front, round the back, just close them up now. And I'm going to come, like I said, round the back, bring this bit out the front, and then I'm going to go back with this one, so I'm going to cut this off about there. That's going to come in through this slot like that, close up the sides, and like I said, I think it's a good idea to have these slots on the side of the box, depending on how much you do put in these as gifts. Sometimes the sides do pop open, so let me just bring my, I'm going to tie a bow. Let me think, where am I going to tie my bow? What did I do with that one? Yeah, I'm going to bring my bow towards the centre like that, and just, actually I'm just going to go around the back of that one. Making a hash of this, I know, sorry. But hopefully you'll see what it is I'm trying to do. So I'm just going to tie a little bow here towards the centre of the box with my cording trim. I really think this stuff is so pretty. Just make the bow a tiny teensy bit smaller, like that. And I'm going to leave these on, I'm not going to cut that because I just think they look so pretty. And then I'm going to take my pretty flower that I've decorated, and I'm just going to pop on the back a few pieces of dimensionals. So I'm just going to snip off these bits that kind of get left on the side. Don't like to waste anything. So I'm just going to pop one there like that, and I'm going to put one on the opposite side here like that. And I'm just going to pop my flower down on the cardstock. So I'm going to lay each of these dimensionals on either side now of that ribbon or that cording trim. Okay, so that means you can unwrap, you can untie this and pull it off, but the little flower here is going to remain in place. That's not going to be going anywhere. Okay, and then I'm just going to take these sweet little flowers that I punched out earlier. Just going to fold up the petals to give them some dimension. And then, what have I done with my, whoops, oh dear. What have I done with my glue dots? Here they are. I'm going to just pop the 3 of these over here in this panel. And I just really like the way that they just give the box some texture. I just think they look ever so pretty. It doesn't look like any old box, does it? I just think it makes whatever you're putting in there. Kind of extra special really. So that is one of my new projects, using the new square pillow box die. I do hope that you have enjoyed the tutorial, and if you don't have one of these lovely pillow box dies, then hop over and have a look at my Papercraft with Crafty blog, www.papercraftwithcrafty.co.uk. You can visit my online shop there. I'm going to post this tutorial to my blog, along with details of all of the products that I've used. I do hope you've enjoyed it. And just as an aside, I have a lovely crafting friend called Lee Denton over at the Crafty Spark. So she is at the Crafty Spark, www.craftyspark.co.uk, and she has got a wonderful YouTube tutorial on how to make an expanded version of this pillow box gift box. So you can make them, well, according to Lee, you can make them in a variety of sizes, so you're not just restricted to this little one here. You can make them, oh, I'm not too sure. I'm using 12 by 12 cardstock. I'm sure she'll be able to demonstrate on that video. I'm sure she has, just how big you can get these boxes if you want to make them bigger. So anyway, I'm waffling, I know, but I just wanted to give her a plug because that is a brilliant video. Thank you for watching today, and I will be back with another project for you. Bye bye.